Hello, fitness business nerds. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Business for Unicorns podcast. I'm so excited to have on the podcast for the very first time someone who I got to know very well over this last year, and I hope you'll get to work with for many years to come. She is the founder of Sage Society Fitness, which is a premier women's focused fitness studio in Santa Barbara and Ventura, and in Ventura, 2 locations in California. This person, I always learn so much whenever I talk to them about how to run a business. They do it so well that I'm excited to ask all the questions I have today. So welcome to the podcast for the first time, and I'm sure not the last, Natasha Caleel. Welcome, Natasha.
Thanks, Michael. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, and I truly mean it. I mean, we've only been working together for probably less than a year, and every time that I'm in your presence, I learn about running a business. you have an approach and an intuition that I think is so valuable and frankly different than mine. And so I think I learned so much because I think we have slightly different approaches, and I love that. I love when I meet people who are taking kind of a different angle at their management and leadership, and you're someone who does it so well, and I'm excited for our listeners to learn from you today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's dive in and talk a little bit about just, how you started Sage Society Fitness, how you decided to have it become a women's focused studio. Let's just kind of start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will preface it by saying I never thought that I would be owning a gym right now. That was
Mm,
not in my plan. When I graduated from college, I was like, all right, personal training, see you later. I'm moving on with my career. And life just kind of brings you in funny directions. So ended up back working with women, started off personal training kind of on the side for fun.
hmm
And then it grew into this business that has been incredibly rewarding, incredibly valuable to the community, and just something that I've really poured my heart into over the last couple of years.
Yeah, amazing. And clearly it's going well now with your second location up and running so well. What were you doing before this? So before you launched Sage Society, what was your career path before this?
Yeah, so my undergrad was in kinesiology, so kind of started off in the training world, then decided I wanted to go into therapy, so I went and got my master's in occupational therapy, worked as an occupational therapist for about 10 years, but got to the point where I then had my own kid, so,
Mm-hmm.
got pregnant, went through that whole process myself, and realized that there was such a hole in the market when it came to training women, to helping women feel great in their bodies again, and giving them the kind of expertise that's needed recovering from either injuries, pregnancy, getting into perimenopause. And that was something that I just was really passionate about. So I actually started online, funny enough, because
Yeah.
I was still working my full-time job. So I'm like, all right, I'll just like do some online training. I can help people. So I built out an online business. I was very successful I probably did that for like 5 or 7 years.
Wow.
And I kind of got bored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is me. You'll notice throughout this conversation, there's a lot of, I got bored. So
Yeah. It's
I
honestly
just,
something a lot of our guests have in common. It's that entrepreneurial
really,
spirit. Like we want to build something, we want to make something, yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And it's like once you have everything dialed in, there's no more. I'm like, okay, there's nothing new to learn here. So, like, what can I do next? And I really miss that human connection. So I
Mm,
missed like being with people all day. And as much as like I loved online training and I had great clients from all over the place, it's a lot of time in front of your computer.
really is.
And that's
Yeah.
not me.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to just kind of take the jump. I had been doing one-on-one training for years. I'm like, well, it's now or never. So let's open a studio and see how it goes. So we signed the lease. When I say we, it's me. I don't know why I always say we. It's like,
The royal we of all the
yeah.
whole village. Yeah.
Now we have a
Yep.
whole team. But at the beginning, it was just me. I
Sure.
signed a lease and I was like, all right, let's open this gym. Threw a bunch of classes on the schedule and, started telling people what I was doing. And it grew exponentially over the
Mm-hmm.
first year. We went from only 30 members when we opened, which is basically my private clients and like their friends,
Yep.
to 225 members by the end of our first year. So,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah, it was
Yeah, there's people been in
quite
the
the
game.
journey.
Yeah, there's been people in been in the game for a long time hoping to get to that 200 and something number. And the fact that it happened in your first year means you were doing a lot right. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I love that story. One of the things I love so much about your story, Natasha, is how good of a job you did at listening to yourself. right? And
Yeah.
saying, like, I want to be in front of people. I'm successful doing what I'm doing now, but I'm going to shake shit up just so I can have more FaceTime with other people. Or I'm a little bored. I want to build something, right? And to be able to listen to yourself and have that kind of self awareness is a skill that really makes people great managers and leaders. And the fact that you're able to do that for yourself, I think is fantastic. It shows, how great of a leader you probably are. And so good for you. I love that. Well, when we started talking before we recorded today, I asked you, what are some of the recent successes and things you've had that you think have really made the difference in growing your two locations as successfully as you have? And one of the first things you said without almost hesitation was building a niche brand. The fact that you've decided to focus on women, you really attribute a lot of your success to. So make that connection for us. Why is niching down into a very specific, group? Well, it's not that specific. It's half the population is women, right?
Yeah,
But in this industry, we
exactly.
talk about it being like a very specific niche. And so,
Yeah.
what has niching down to women done for you? Why do you attribute so much success to that?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, everyone thought I was crazy when I was
Mm,
like, I'm creating a gym for women essentially between the ages of 30 and 55.
yep,
And they're like, why would you do that? You're cutting out so much of the population. It's never going to work.
yep,
And the thing that with fitness, first of all, fitness, especially in Santa Barbara, is very oversaturated.
yeah,
It's a very small town, and I would say there's probably 100 gyms in an 8 mile radius,
mm-hmm,
which is a lot. So there's a
yep,
lot of options for people. But what I found is that most people want to feel like they're in a place where they truly belong, like
mm,
it was created just for them.
yep,
And so when you're going to generic fitness programs or gyms or places that are kind of created for everybody, you can get lost in the crowd, especially as a beginner or especially as somebody who is dealing with other issues that's impacting their ability to exercise, to show up, to really invest that time and energy into themselves. And so that was really important to me is that we created a space where women felt 100% comfortable walking in through that door, that they were not intimidated and they felt like they were supported by the coaches, by the other members, and just by the community.
yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah, I think you're, and the fact that people doubted that early on, it just goes to show how much people forget that belonging is a big part of what people want in their gym. Right? They want it to be a communal space where they feel like you said, it was built and designed kind of just for them. And that they really fit there. They really belong there. And so, yeah, so early on, what are some of the things you had to put in place to make your gym really appealing for women?
Yeah, so one of the main things was really the design.
Mm-hmm.
I was really intentional. I actually rebranded. So my old business was called Fit Mama Santa Barbara. It was super cheesy, and I'm like,
That's cute
okay,
though.
that
That's cute.
it was, it was really effective for telling people exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But I did want to branch out because people assume that I was only for if you had just had a baby, that's who I
Mm,
worked with, and really it
mm-hmm.
was much more than that. And so that was kind of the first thing is creating a new name and creating a new brand and deciding what that communicated to people, what that looked like. And then the actual like aesthetic design of the studio. I wanted it to be a blend between kind of a really bougie, nice looking Pilates studio, but then a badass strength training gym.
Sure. Yeah.
And, that's not particularly easy to do
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. That's a two extreme things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I put like a lot of details into plants and nice lighting and Instagram worthy kind of moments where I knew that would translate over into social media well. So I always laugh. I say that I designed my gym for Instagram, but that's not really a lie. It's kind of true.
100%. I mean, most people should, right? It's a space where you want people to be talking about their time there and recording it and sharing the love, on social media. So I think that's so smart. I think more people should follow your lead in that way. Yeah, that's amazing. What about when it came to staffing? I mean, obviously, a big part of what makes people's experience in the space is, yes, the beautiful space and the plants and the lighting, and it's the people. So how do you go about finding staff who also shared your vision of creating this space for women?
Yeah, well, I was super fortunate because I've been working in this community for a while
Mm-hmm.
and I've made a lot of connections in both the therapy world and then also in the fitness world. Even myself, I've been living in Santa Barbara for probably about 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to know a lot of people. It's a small
Yeah.
town. And when I started telling people what I was doing and I was telling people my vision and where I saw the gym going, my first two staff members actually approached me.
Wow.
So they were people I knew. One woman was someone I did CrossFit with. Another woman was a physical therapist that I had been in different groups and stuff with. And they came to me and were like, hey, I love what you're doing. How can I get involved? And those are the best kind of staff members to have because they
Hmm.
truly see your vision, they see what you're building, and they want to be a part of that. And for the first probably 6 months, it was just the three of us. So I taught most of the classes. I was seeing a lot of the clients. They would teach classes on the other times where I couldn't. And we really just kind of went with it. I don't say I had much of a plan other than like, let's just see how many people we can get in.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
from there, obviously, the need grew. We added more services, we added more classes. I also added admin staff
Hmm.
because as a business owner, I had to make the choice. Do I want to take myself off the floor and do more admin, or do I want to stay on the floor a little more and train someone else to do this? So that was a big deal breaker in my business. I was like, I
Yeah.
do not want to get, I told you from the beginning, I don't like being in front of my computer. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to be stuck in my office all day.
Yeah, it's so smart. I think a lot of founders feel like they have to be the ones that are in the office doing the back end stuff, and that's just not the case at all. If you want to stay on the floor, stay on the floor. If you want to be working with people, work with people. If you want to learn to do the back end stuff, that's an option too. But I think all too many founders feel like they're stuck, like they have to be the one. And I'm so glad you chose otherwise, right? You wouldn't have wanted to keep doing it if you were stuck back in front of a computer again.
Totally. I'm not good, and I will 100% admit like spreadsheets, payroll, like that is not my forte.
Yeah,
And so I'm like I need to find someone who can do that because
good.
that's taking more mental energy for me than going in and working with people.
Yeah, good for you. I think that's so smart. It's so smart. I hope our listeners are taking that to heart because I think again, too many back themselves into a corner and create a job for themselves
Yeah.
that they don't want. And
Totally.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
And
leaning into skills that you may not be particularly good
yeah,
at.
yeah, 100%. It's one thing if you want to learn and grow and stretch yourself and take on new skills and learn how to do payroll. It's one thing to want to, but if you really don't want to and you're not excited about it, don't. You're in charge. It's the reason why you started your own business, you know. And especially as
100%.
you grew so quickly, getting to over 200 members, there's a lot of admin that comes with that many bodies coming out of the
Yeah.
place all the time. There's just a lot of admin, you know, that many people. There's a lot of just basic stuff that needs hands on. So I'm glad that you grew admin fast. That's really smart. So I mean, there would be a lot of people listening on the podcast thinking, well, I really wish I could niche down my business. I wish I could niche down to just women or just youth athletes or just people over 50 or just, and they're nervous. They're nervous to kind of narrow the funnel. What's your advice to them?
Yeah, I think first of all, deciding what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
When I talk to a lot of people, they're all over the place. They don't quite even know yet. So you do have to kind of work as a generalist for a while to figure out who is it that I really want to serve? Who
Hmm.
do I want to lean into the skills that I need to serve that population? And then go from there because I think too many people maybe specialize too quickly,
Yeah.
and that can be a problem too because then you're stuck in this niche of people that maybe aren't fulfilling and it's not the population you truly want to work with, but then you're almost pigeonholed into that.
Yeah.
So I did like even for myself, like I said, I've been training since college. I've worked with all populations. I've worked with
Hmm.
older adults. I've worked with, athletes, all this stuff. And I just realized after so much time that that's who I truly, where I really got joy out of helping
Yep.
women navigating these particular issues. And then that was something that I invested time and energy into continuing education around.
Yep.
Because even, I went to school for a long time, they don't teach you any of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's why some of us stay in school for even longer because we're not finished.
Yes, I
We're
was
not
going to
finished
say, I'm
yet.
preaching to the choir here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's real. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, Natasha. A lot of wisdom in like, well, go work with a lot of people first, right? Before you decide to niche down, because you know let's just say you think you want to work with youth athletes. Well, go work with youth athletes for a little while, but work with a few other folks, because you might learn that while you really resonate with a lot of the youth athlete stuff, you might learn working with adults might be more satisfying in some ways, or might be an easier business to run for you in some ways, or more profitable in some. You don't know. So I think there's a lot
You
of
don't know.
wisdom in trying stuff first and then
Yeah.
deciding to niche down. I think that's really smart. Let's switch gears a little bit, because I want to get to another thing that I know has really attributed a lot to your success, which is you had a great launch of your second location. And often that's
Yeah.
where a lot of businesses struggle, is they stumble when they go to launch and go to grow their idea into multiple places. It can really be a stumbling point in the growth of a business. But your second location got off to a pretty great start. So let's just talk through it. Maybe just kind of talk me through the story first of when you decided to open a second location, and then how you kind of planned the execution.
Yeah, so I will say from even the very beginning when I opened my first location,
Mm-hmm.
I never opened a gym with the intention of just owning a gym.
Mm-hmm.
I already had a very successful business. I did an online hybrid type program, and I wasn't opening a gym thinking like, oh, I'm doing this just for the ego, essentially. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is a strategic move to scale, to open up another location, maybe more, and go from there. So from the beginning, I really set it up as something that could be replicated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the second location was a test of, is this just something that's riding on my reputation and my coattails, or is this something that's actually a brand itself?
Yep.
And so because of my experience in online marketing and having an online business, I really leaned in from the start with the social media marketing
Mm-hmm.
and building up our brand locally online. So when it came time to open the second location, a lot of people in Ventura already knew who we were. And
Amazing.
I think that really attributed to the successful launch because they knew who we were, they knew what we were about. They probably had friends that already went to our gym in Santa Barbara and they were having a bit of FOMO
Yep. Yep.
because they're
That's
seeing it
important.
all over social media,
Yep.
right? They're like, what is this place that these people are going to that I want to be at, but it's too far away? So then, yeah, it's kind of choosing a location and then looking for a space. It took about 6 months to find the right location.
Yeah.
I looked at a lot of really bad buildings.
It's the hardest part. It's the hardest part. It's so much about
Yeah.
location, and there's so many bad ones out there. Not just bad buildings, but ones that just don't make sense for fitness. Landlords that
Yeah.
don't want fitness. Places with no
A lot of
parking.
that. A lot of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
in New York City, it's like the sound and vibration is a huge issue.
Hmm.
So depending on your market, you might have your own unique set of issues. I know in California, it's often parking is the issue, from
I
what
was going to say
I'm
parking
told.
was a big one. So
Yeah.
it was very hard to find a space that had adequate parking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you found the space. You have already been getting your name out there with people in the area who know you and have some FOMO. And so, what was your kind of pre-launch strategy? What were you doing to kind of get as many people committed before you opened?
Yeah. So we started about 8 weeks out with
Hmm.
building a wait list.
Great.
So through social media, both organically and then I think I actually ran ads too to start building the wait list. And that kind of just helped boost our visibility. Once again, I talked to a lot of people and I'll talk about the sales process, but basically I talked to so many people
Hmm.
pre-opening the gym. And what a lot of them said is, I don't know, I just kind of saw it pop up on Instagram and I thought it looked cool, so I joined the wait list. And that's great. That's what you
That's
want, right?
amazing. Yeah, 100%.
So then once we opened up pre-sale, we were running people to Zoom meetings.
Hmm.
So I did all the pre-sale over Zoom calls. It was myself and another girl that I hired who I've known in the past, really great at sales, really great at connecting with people. So I was like, "Hey, I can't do all this by myself. Like, can you help me
Yep.
do these consult calls?" And basically the consult call was for them to tell us what they're looking for, what their struggles have been, and us deciding if it was going to be a good fit and then selling them on our pre-sale offer.
Great.
So prior to opening June 1st, I would say personally, I probably did about 200 calls,
Wow.
if not
Wow.
more.
That's
And
amazing.
same thing, Lana was crank. Like every day I opened up my calendar, I'm like, Oh my gosh.
How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
That's
So, which
amazing.
is
It just
great.
shows the kind of hustle, right? I mean, the fact that you can build a wait list just by putting out some ads and some so great social media content. Then go talk to everyone on that wait list to learn a little bit about their goals, quick conversations, I'm sure, well
Yeah.
structured, well scripted conversations for you listeners out there who are thinking about doing this, right? There was a plan, I'm sure, for what was going to
There's
be
a
said and
plan. Yeah.
when. There's a clear offer
Totally.
you're going to be making, right? And all of that is just a ton of hustle. But when you do that, then you get a launch of a new location that goes pretty damn good. Do you remember what the offer was that you were making to
Yeah,
folks?
so because we are launching in June
Mm-hmm.
and our target demographic is moms, summer is
Mm,
a very hard time to open.
yep.
So nobody wants to commit to a membership in the summer because
Yeah.
schedules can be crazy. So what we did is we did a summer membership. So it was a 3 month pay in full membership, super flexible. So if they were traveling, they wouldn't lose their credits, all that kind of stuff. And then that rolled over into a month to month membership at a discount in September.
Love that. I love that. So smart to take your avatar into consideration. Say, what do they need right now for opening in June? What is their life
Yeah.
like? How do we get them to make an easy yes here? And what they need at that time in their life is like so much flexibility and not a lot of commitment. And so you
Yeah.
gave it to them, which is so smart. Do you remember how many people you opened with on your in your first few months?
Yeah. By June 1st, we opened with 140.
Wow, that's
Yeah, which was
amazing.
great.
Yeah,
My goal was
it's
60. I was like, if
yeah.
we get 60
That's
people, we're good.
amazing. Yeah, I don't have sound effects, but if I did, this would be the
Yeah.
applause button.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's amazing. It just goes to show that that you really can put in the hustle, put in the time, connect with a ton of strangers. Right? These are people who
Yeah.
you all got on a Zoom call to get to know and learn about their goals, and then give them a membership that's really tailored to them and their lives and their needs. And I love that you rolled it automatically over into a month-to-month membership. That kind of like automatic or Netflix close, people often call it.
Yeah.
I think is so smart because we want to assume they're going to have a good time and then not have to
Yeah,
do the extra
exactly.
paperwork or conversation to convert them again. We're just going to give them a great experience, and they're going to want to stay, which is fantastic. Good for you.
Well, and the nice thing is, like, we've reached out to some people because they hadn't been in for a while, and
Hmm.
I feel a little bit. I'm like, I want to make sure they know they're getting charged.
Hmm.
And so, a lot of people they would just write back and be like, "Oh, I just assumed it rolled over. We're good, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm
I'm not
like,
going
"Yes,
anywhere.
great, yeah."
Please, I want to keep coming. Yeah. Looking back at your launch of your second location, anything you do differently? Any lessons learned that you would want to redo on?
I will say I don't love the 3 month pay in full
Hmm.
offer.
Yeah.
We did it because of the time of year.
Yeah.
But if I were to do it again, I'd probably restructure that just because you do have a lot of drop off. Like we did have a lot of people
I'm
then
sure.
cancel like a month or two after it rolled into a month to month. So that just, it's a different beast, right?
Yeah, of
So
course. And
easy
that's the
to sell
things.
on the front end,
Yep.
but then that, retention can take a bit of a hit. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, when the first thing you sell, whenever your low barrier offer is, or even for those of you out there who do a medium or high barrier offer, when that is so different than what their membership is going to be like, there's often a disconnect that results in some drop off. But I think what was so smart about that, Natasha, was that you were responsive to the time of year. And often when you're opening, the exact month you're opening is kind of a mystery until a few weeks before.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a real serious build out, that date is often shifting. And so you really have to be responsive to when you're opening, and the fact that you did that, I think, was a big part of your success. But it's a great lesson learned is try to have an offer that is closer to what their normal membership will be like. Yeah.
Totally.
Any other thoughts or tips for folks out there who are thinking about growing into a second location? Anything else you'd be doing when you open your third, for example?
Honestly, I would probably integrate myself into the community a little bit more to get to
Mm,
know the clientele there.
yeah.
I think that's something I had already lived in Ventura. I've lived in the area in the past, so I kind of had a good idea of who lived there, what they were about, what that looked like. But I think going to a new place, like that's kind of what I'm thinking is I need to
Hmm.
spend a little bit more time digging into what's important to the community and really
Yep.
making sure that it's going to be a good fit.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful idea. The idea, since you already lived there, you knew a little bit about what the people were like, what the vibe is like, what people's schedules are like, the places they shop and go, the places they congregate in the community, the kind of hobbies people tend to have. A lot of people outside running and walking, right?
I was
Those
gonna say a
those are
lot of surfing, a lot of
yeah,
people
a lot of
doing hiking,
surfing.
surfing. They
Yeah.
don't know if they want to be at a gym, right?
Yeah. And those kind of things really matter when you're trying to market to a new community that you've never really been part of. So getting to spend some time there and to know that neighborhood, I think makes a ton of sense. Good for you. All right, well, let's leave it there. We can keep talking all day, but I know
Okay.
we're about at
Yeah.
our scheduled time. So I want to just stop and say thank you so much, Natasha. I think
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for
as
everything.
as I said at the beginning of this episode, I always learn so much from how you do things, and your approach is always so well thought out and well executed. And even though even from you starting as an army of one, you're always just so thoughtful about the next steps in front of you. And I see you doing that now as you continue to grow your business. I'm just so grateful to have a front row seat to watch. So thank you for your time and for your wisdom
Thanks,
on
Michael.
behalf of our members. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a kick ass day. Bye,
You
y'all.
too. Bye.